Right now, someone is making a judgment about you based purely on how you look at them. Whether you hold their gaze or look away. Whether you blink too much or stare too long. Whether your eyes soften or harden during conversation. And you're doing the same to them, mostly without realizing it. Eye contact is one of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication humans have. It can signal attraction, dominance, submission, honesty, deception, confidence, or insecurity, all without a single word being spoken. Studies show that people make decisions about trustworthiness, competence, and likability within the first 7 seconds of meeting someone, and eye contact is a major factor in those snap judgments. In the next 25 minutes, we're breaking down the neuroscience and psychology of eye contact, what different patterns really mean, how to read people through their gaze, and how to use this knowledge in your daily life. Because once you understand what eyes reveal, every conversation becomes an open book. Let's decode the gaze. Welcome back to Psyche Path, where we decode your mind. If you want to master human behavior, hit subscribe because today we're reading between the lines. Let's start with the neuroscience because it's fascinating. When two people make eye contact, something remarkable happens in the brain. Research using functional MRI scans shows that direct eye contact activates multiple brain regions simultaneously. The fusiform face area, which processes facial recognition. The superior temporal sulcus, which interprets social cues. The amygdala, your emotional processing center. And most interestingly, the limbic system, which governs emotional responses and arousal. This is why our contact feels so intense, so intimate, and sometimes so uncomfortable. It's not just visual input. It's a direct neurological connection between two brains. When someone looks into your eyes, they're not just seeing you. They're activating emotional and social processing systems that bypass conscious thought. This is why you can feel when someone is looking at you, even when you're not directly facing them. Your brain has evolved to detect and respond to eye contact because throughout human evolutionary history, it's been critical for survival, communication, and social bonding. Here's something most people don't realize. Humans are the only primates with whites of the eyes, called sclera, that are clearly visible. Every other primate has dark sclera that makes it difficult to determine where they're looking. Why did humans evolve this way? Because eye contact became central to human cooperation and communication. Being able to track where someone is looking, to know what they're paying attention to. To signal intention and emotion through gaze, this gave humans a massive evolutionary advantage. It allowed for complex social coordination, teaching, shared attention toward threats or opportunities, and the development of trust. But it also made humans vulnerable. Exposing where you're looking means others can predict your intentions, detect your lies, or read your emotions. So humans also evolved to be incredibly sensitive to eye contact patterns, learning to read subtle variations in gaze as survival signals. That sensitivity is still hardwired into your brain today. Let us break down the basic psychology of eye contact duration because this is where most people get confused. There's no universal rule about how long to hold someone's gaze. It depends entirely on context, culture, relationship, and what message you're trying to send. But research provides some general guidelines. In Western cultures, normal conversational eye contact lasts between 3 to 5 seconds at a time before one person looks away and then re-engages. This pattern signals engagement without aggression. Too little eye contact, less than 2 seconds, or constantly looking away, often signals discomfort, dishonesty, social anxiety, or disinterest. Your brain interprets lack of eye contact as either submission or deception because the person is either intimidated or hiding something. Too much eye contact, staring for longer than 7 seconds without looking away, triggers the opposite response. It signals dominance, aggression, romantic interest, or in some cases, psychopathy. Prolonged staring activates the amygdala's threat detection system. Your brain interprets it as either a challenge or an invitation, and both require a response. Here's where it gets more nuanced. The meaning of eye contact changes dramatically based on who's doing it. If someone with high social status or perceived power holds prolonged eye contact, it's read as dominance and confidence. If someone with lower perceived status does the same thing, it can be interpreted as aggressive, inappropriate, or threatening. This is why office dynamics around eye contact are so complex. A manager holding eye contact with an employee signals authority. An employee holding unbroken eye contact with a manager can be read as challenging or disrespectful, even if that's not the intent. Power dynamics are constantly being negotiated through gaze patterns, mostly below conscious awareness. The person who breaks eye contact first is often unconsciously submitting, acknowledging the other person's higher status or dominance in that moment. Let's talk about attraction, because this is where eye contact becomes especially powerful. Romantic attraction has distinct eye contact patterns that are different from friendly or professional engagement. When someone is attracted to you, their eye contact tends to last longer than normal, usually 5 to 7 seconds before looking away. They'll hold your gaze, look away, and then return to your eyes repeatedly. A pattern called triangular gazing, where the eyes move between your left eye, right eye, and briefly to your mouth. This creates a rhythm of connection and release that builds tension and intimacy. Research by social psychologist Sig Rubin found that couples in love spend significantly more time gazing into each other's eyes than acquaintances or friends do. But here's the twist. Prolonged eye contact doesn't just reflect attraction. It can create it. A famous study by psychologist Arthur Aaron demonstrated that when strangers are instructed to maintain eye contact for 4 minutes, many report feeling a strong sense of connection and intimacy, even attraction, by the end. The act of sustained mutual gaze triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and activates the brain's reward system. Your brain interprets prolonged eye contact as intimacy, and your emotions follow. Now let's decode what different eye contact patterns reveal about emotional states and intentions. When someone is lying or withholding information, their eye contact patterns change in predictable ways. Contrary to popular belief, liars don't always avoid eye contact. In fact, many liars overcompensate by maintaining too much eye contact, staring at you intensely to appear honest and trustworthy. What gives them away isn't the amount of eye contact, but the lack of natural variation. Honest people's eyes move naturally. They look away when thinking, glance around when recalling information, and return to your eyes when making a point. Liars often lock their gaze rigidly because they're consciously performing honesty rather than naturally expressing it. Another tell is timing. When someone is lying, there's often a slight delay between their verbal response and the return of eye contact. Their brain is processing the lie, monitoring your reaction, and controlling their behavior simultaneously. That cognitive load creates micro-delays that trained observers can detect. Anxiety and insecurity also have distinct eye contact signatures. People experiencing social anxiety tend to avoid direct eye contact, looking down, to the side, or past the person they're talking to. This isn't rudeness. It's a protective mechanism. For someone with anxiety, Direct eye contact feels overwhelming, like being exposed or judged. Their brain's threat detection system is hyperactive, interpreting eye contact as potential danger. On the other hand, confidence shows up as relaxed, steady eye contact that's neither aggressive nor avoidant. Confident people hold your gaze when speaking, look away comfortably when thinking, and return naturally. Their eye movements are fluid, not forced. There's no tension in the gaze, no rigid control, just natural engagement. Interestingly, genuine confidence often includes more time. Looking away because truly confident people are constantly seeking validation or monitoring reactions. They're comfortable in uncertainty. Dominance and submission dynamics are constantly being negotiated through eye contact in social hierarchies. In group settings, watch who people look at when someone makes a joke or says something important. People unconsciously look toward the person they perceive as the leader or highest status individual to gauge their reaction. The person receiving the most eye attention is usually the social alpha of that group. Similarly, during confrontations or disagreements, the person who maintains steady eye contact without looking away is asserting dominance, while the person who breaks eye contact first is unconsciously submitting. This isn't always about aggression. Sometimes it's strategic. In professional settings, knowing when to hold eye contact and when to break it can communicate respect while maintaining your position. Looking away briefly and then returning shows you are not challenging the other person, but you're also not backing down completely. Cultural differences in eye contact are critical to understand because what's respectful in one culture can be offensive in another. In Western cultures, particularly the United States and Europe, direct eye contact is associated with honesty, confidence, and attentiveness. Not making eye contact is often interpreted negatively as shifty, untrustworthy, or disengaged. But in many Asian, African, and Latin American cultures, prolonged direct eye contact, especially with elders or authority figures, is considered disrespectful or confrontational. Looking down or away signals respect and deference. In some Middle Eastern cultures, sustained eye contact between genders who aren't related or married is inappropriate. In Japan, people are taught to focus on the neck or shoulder area during conversation rather than staring into eyes, as direct eye contact can be seen as invasive. These aren't arbitrary rules. They're deeply embedded cultural norms about power, respect, and social boundaries. Misunderstanding these differences can lead to serious miscommunication. An American might think someone avoiding eye contact is lying when they're actually showing cultural respect. A Japanese person might feel uncomfortable with an American's direct gaze, interpreting it as aggressive when it's meant as engaged interest. Let's talk about the darker applications of eye contact knowledge. Manipulators, particularly those with narcissistic or psychopathic traits, often use eye contact strategically as a tool of control. During love-bombing phases, they'll use intense, prolonged eye contact to create artificial intimacy and connection. This overwhelming attention makes the target feel special, seen, uniquely understood. But later, during devaluation phases, they'll withdraw eye contact entirely, looking through you or past you as if you don't exist. This sudden absence of gaze creates psychological distress because your brain has become conditioned to associate their eye contact with validation. The withdrawal feels like rejection, abandonment, like you've become invisible. This push-pull dynamic using eye contact is a powerful manipulation tactic. Similarly, skilled manipulators will use unblinking stares during confrontations to intimidate and dominate. Predatory staring, where someone locks eyes with you and doesn't look away even when it becomes uncomfortable, is designed to trigger your threat response, making you feel unsafe and more likely to comply or submit. Here's something most people don't know about eye direction and cognitive processing. When people look in different directions, it can reveal what type of thinking they're doing. This is called neurolinguistic programming, eye accessing cues. And while it's not foolproof, research supports some patterns. When someone looks up and to the left, they're often accessing visual memories, recalling something they actually saw. Up and to the right suggests visual construction, imagining or creating an image that doesn't exist in memory. Looking directly left accesses auditory memory, recalling sounds or conversations. Directly right is auditory construction, imagining sounds. Down and to the left often indicates internal dialogue, talking to themselves. Down and to the right suggests kinesthetic or emotional processing, accessing feelings. This isn't universal, and it varies by person, but it provides clues about cognitive processes. For example, if you ask someone what they did yesterday and they look up and to the right, visual construction area, that suggests they might be fabricating rather than recalling. Again, this isn't definitive proof of lying, but it's an investigative tool, one piece of a larger puzzle. Pupil dilation is another critical component of eye contact that most people overlook. Your pupils dilate, get larger in response to low light, but they also dilate in response to emotional arousal, whether that's attraction, fear, interest, or cognitive load. When someone is looking at something or someone they find attractive, their pupils dilate noticeably. This is an involuntary response controlled by the autonomic nervous system. You can't fake it or control it consciously. This is why pupil dilation is considered one of the most honest signals in body language. In studies on attraction, researchers found that people unconsciously perceive dilated pupils as more attractive, even when they're not consciously aware of the pupil size. Your brain picks up on this subtle cue and interprets it as interest and engagement. Conversely, constricted pupils in normal lighting can signal discomfort, dislike, or disinterest. Poker players, skilled negotiators, and interrogators often wear sunglasses or use lighting strategically to hide their pupils and prevent others from reading their true reactions. Let's discuss the role of blinking because it's more revealing than most people realize. The average person blinks about 15 to 20 times per minute, but this rate changes dramatically based on cognitive and emotional state. When someone is lying or under stress, their blink rate often increases significantly, sometimes doubling or tripling. This is a physiological stress response. The brain is working overtime to construct and maintain the lie, and that cognitive load manifests as increased blinking. However, some trained liars do the opposite. They consciously control their blinking, reducing it to appear calm and truthful. This creates an unnatural, reptilian stare that can be equally revealing to trained observers. On the other hand, attraction and engagement decrease blink rate. When someone is fascinated by what you're saying or deeply attracted to you, they blink less because their brain is fully focused on taking in information. They don't want to miss anything. Boredom increases blink rate as the brain starts to disengage. So tracking blink patterns during conversation can give you insight into whether someone is truly engaged, stressed, lying, or checked out. Here's the practical application. How do you use eye contact effectively in real-world situations? In job interviews, Maintain steady eye contact during questions and when making key points, but look away naturally when thinking through your answer. This signals confidence without aggression. Approximately 60 to 70% eye contact is ideal. In romantic contexts, if you're interested in someone, hold their gaze slightly longer than normal, 3 to 5 seconds, and incorporate the triangular gaze pattern. Eyes, eyes, mouth. This creates a subtle sense of intimacy, but be calibrated. If they look away uncomfortably or don't return the gaze, you're pushing too hard. In negotiations or conflicts, use steady eye contact when stating your position, but allow the other person to break eye contact first. This maintains your ground without being overtly aggressive. In social situations where you want to appear confident and approachable, practice relaxed eye contact that's neither too intense nor too avoidant. Look at people when they're speaking, glance away when you're thinking, and return naturally. The goal is to appear engaged, but not desperate for validation. Now, let's address the discomfort. Many people find eye contact difficult, even painful. If you're neurodivergent, particularly on the autism spectrum, eye contact can feel overwhelming, like sensory overload. Your brain processes it differently, and forcing yourself to make eye contact can actually impair your ability to focus on the conversation. This isn't a flaw, it's neurological difference. If eye contact is genuinely difficult for you, there are strategies that help. Look at the bridge of someone's nose or their eyebrows instead of directly into their eyes. From a conversational distance, the other person can't tell the difference, but it reduces the intensity for you. Alternatively, practice brief eye contact during key moments. When you're making an important point or acknowledging something they said, then look away naturally. This signals engagement without requiring constant eye contact. Remember, the goal isn't to force neurotypical behavior. It's to communicate effectively in a way that works for your brain. Here's something important about the modern world and eye contact. Digital communication has fundamentally changed how younger generations experience and interpret eye contact. If you've grown up primarily communicating through text, social media, and video calls, in-person eye contact can feel more intense and unfamiliar than it did for previous generations. Video calls create a paradox. You're looking at the screen to see the person, but the camera is elsewhere, so you're never actually making eye contact. This trains your brain to communicate without true mutual gaze. When you transition to in-person interaction, real eye contact can feel strange, too intimate, awkward. This isn't weakness or social failure. It's adaptation to your primary communication medium. The solution is intentional practice. Make a point to have in-person conversations regularly. Start with low-stakes interactions, cashiers, servers, neighbors, and practice comfortable eye contact. Your brain will adapt. Let me share a real-world example that illustrates the power of eye contact. Sarah was preparing for a high-stakes job interview. She was qualified, experienced, and well-prepared on paper. But in practice, interviews with friends, she kept getting feedback that she seemed nervous and uncertain. The problem wasn't her words, it was her eye contact. She would look at the interviewer when they asked a question, but then look down or away for the entire duration of her answer, only returning eye contact at the end. This pattern unconsciously communicated insecurity and lack of confidence. We worked on a simple adjustment. Maintain eye contact when the question is asked to show you're listening. Look away briefly, 2 to 3 seconds, while you gather your thoughts. This signals that you're thinking, not just reciting a script. Then return to eye contact as you deliver your answer, looking away occasionally but spending most of the time engaged. This pattern communicates confidence, thoughtfulness, and engagement. In her actual interview, she implemented this strategy. She got the job. In the feedback session, the hiring manager specifically mentioned that she came across as confident and assured. That's the power of calibrated eye contact. So here's your challenge. For the next week, pay attention to eye contact patterns in your interactions. Notice when people look away, when they hold your gaze, when they avoid it. Notice how it makes you feel when someone gives you their full visual attention versus when they read constantly looking at their phone or around the room. And most importantly, notice your own patterns. Are you avoiding eye contact out of habit? Are you staring too intensely because you're trying to appear confident? Find the middle ground. Practice relaxed, natural engagement. Because eye contact isn't just about seeing. It's about connection. It's about trust. It's about understanding the unspoken language that happens between two people when they truly look at each other. Master the gaze, and you master a fundamental element of human communication. Now, if this video opened your eyes, literally, to the power of nonverbal communication, the next one breaks down microexpressions, the facial cues that reveal hidden emotions in a fraction of a second. Hit subscribe because we're building a complete guide to reading people. And remember, your eyes are speaking. Make sure they're saying what you want them to say.